出来，但是最终是 EDG 前期通过杰杰的精彩发挥，滚起了巨大的雪球，而且全场没有给到任何机会，也确实没有什么机会了。当然，
这一场奥拉夫选出来，其实还是打出了点效果的，就1级的入侵已经做得很好了。
那咋办吧？
但是 EDG 的应对也做得很好。
是，伤害列表
来看一下这边，
只有小东北1人上万啊，确实在这种劣势下非常难打。而在 EDG 这边，塔利亚
打了最高的伤害，
这场 MVP 我估计没跑了吧？
这把节奏确实太完美了，
节奏完美，数据完美，他没死过，他4017啊，当然只有 Scout 死过，送了全队100%的人头。这朱丹有问题，
打红 buff 被逮住了。
是的，送了全队100%人头。确实这局我觉得 EDG 把他们从德杯开始那种比较好的状态一直延续下来了，就是你会感觉这个 EDG 第一场打的就没什么毛病，你挑不出什么问题，对吧？
就是整一场打下来就让人感觉很流畅，
然后拿到优势之后也不拖他，因为这个版本，我觉得我还是要说这个版本小龙刷新的频率导致你拿到优势你很难拖他，你不像原来可能小龙刷的慢，然后龙也没有，你比如说连刷风龙也没有这么有决定性。我说之前的版本连刷风龙啊，导致就是大家可能你觉得有些队伍有优势他会慢一点，但是这个版本根本不存在这个问题，有优势的队伍他就是可以不停叠到龙魂，然后把比赛拿下来。
就之前打猎士可能还能说等对面犯失误，然后送一波，
或者现在等着刷风龙，你放对面打。
对，现在没有这种机会，什么龙你都得去争。
上路这波也是，
这波是最关键的一波吧？我觉得
真的是精彩的反蹲啊！这波打完就直接崩没了嘛？
对。
这个 MVP 专属镜头，感觉这是真的 MVP 专属镜头。
我一直觉得这个岩雀的大招特别的帅，就骑着他那个石头飞过来，
就是看火影忍者有一个那种骑在召唤兽上往下飞的那种感觉，对吧？就有点那种感觉。
老二次元了，
今天看阿列兹这个名字嘛，你懂得，有感而发。
老核爆了，
这首歌大家可以去听一下啊。这首歌你如果之前没听过，你现在听，你绝对会发现你在某个地方肯定听过这个旋律。下路这也是水龙龙魂的这一波团，你可以看到 EDG 的双 C 在这波团战当中的位置非常的好。
MF 这个大招啊，这个位置太好了。
是的，
死亡回廊这个位置。
然后 Meiko 通过强大的水龙 buff， 你看看这个战斗中的回血，
疯狂回，
确实这个水龙龙魂在这种情况下给 EDG 更多团战的无敌容错，然后让这场比赛比较轻松的拿下来吧。看看第2局状态上是不是有改观吧？否则我觉得今天这场比赛真的 V5是比较难的。
我觉得心态主要要调整回来。就其实第一把打成这样没事，下一把打
没关系。
就下一把把阵容选好了，再好好打，又是新的一局。
但是我觉得他们现在心里有点难受的是，他们第一把是优先选的蓝色方啊。
然后这一下 EDG 如果再选个紫色方，
对啊，他们自己选，然后如果一对下一把
红色方就有点难受。
Yeah. Everybody knows that I'm breaking down. Everybody knows I ain't faking now. Everybody knows my heart's vacant now. Yeah, she hates me now, I made mistakes, but now I don't ever wanna be alone. I don't really ever feel at home. On my own, in the zone, that's the only way I know. Feeling low, about to blow back up. Here I won't ever let the doubt creep in. Gotta pop a couple more aspirin. I don't think I'll ever let you in. Easier to break it off as friends. I don't really understand myself. I don't really understand, need help. I don't wanna be left on the shelf. Couldn't even hear me if I yelled. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold. Break down, always feel like I could break now, but I never let it take me to that place now. I won't ever let my thoughts get away now. I got better things to do, picking fate now. I just wanna be the best, call me great now. I don't know if I'm okay or insane now. I remember better days on the playground, hoping I can find my way to even when I'm feeling down. I fight, even when I don't know what is right. I'ma pick a side, and I'ma take pride. I will decide my fate, and I will never let them tell me who I am. If you try to shake me, I'll be damned. Planet on the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold.
Welcome back into the unofficial English broadcast of the LPL. We're getting into game number 2 of the best of 3 for Victory 5 and EDG. EDG were able to get a dominant game 1, but getting right into champions like we already have. Rumble, Kiana, Akali, and Aphelios, pretty much mainstays of the bench, already banned away.
All right, but I want to see if the Pantheon's through.
Yeah, and it was a reminder that the priority pick wasn't that Pantheon that Doc was talking about, but actually an Olaf pick that didn't work out for Xiaohan. So we're going to see if we have the same exact draft, because we have, there's the change-up. I was going to say the same exact ban phase going down, but there's that Pantheon. Is the priority pick going to be the Olaf, or will they change now?
I wonder if they go for something like the Misfortune, because we pretty much saw what happened in that. Hope and Meiko got out of control. Y4 and Max pretty much had nothing that they could do, and there it is, immediately locking in the Misfortune.
Well, what's the response going to be then? Because you probably want to try and get your ADC in before the next round of bans. You have the opportunity. You can get your Sennas, your Varuses, your Lucians. And I wonder if we would just see the Lucian locked in for Hope. He was one of the first people to start playing it in the Demacia Cup before it's really started to set in. I feel like it's a pretty decent matchup into that Misfortune.
But they much more prefer that top focus of the map, the Renekton and the Taliyah.
It does give this win third time's a charm. It does give this window, though, that if Victory 5 did want to pick up a flex solution, that they could actually deny it. But by locking in the LeBlanc, it really does tell me that Victory 5 are not very dynamic in their draft phase, that they don't have very wide champion pools across positions. Because I agree with you. It kind of feels like out of all of the options left available, this third pick from EDG, you assume is either going to be one of the coveted supports like the Nautilus or the Leona, or it's going to be something like that Lucian, and then the other position will be pinched by Victory 5 in second rotation of bans. So Victory 5 know that there is going to be a power pick that goes down into that EDG bot lane. I feel like they really fumbled that second rotation. And LeBlanc, Lee Sin, they had the opportunity that they themselves could have grabbed the Leona, could have grabbed the Nautilus.
I agree. I'm not really confident on going for that LeBlanc and Lee Sin this early on, and now we see Senna over on the other side for Hope. It probably is going to be for Hope, could be for Meiko, but more expecting it to be that safety in the bot lane to pretty much neutralize that advantage Y4 could have had.
The nice thing about Senna is that she brings like hyper scaling potential. Like a Senna late game, especially when she has stacked up souls, is just so oppressive. And so because it's a Senna and not something like the Lucian that we were talking about, I think it tells me that Scout is going to go for something that spikes a little bit more in terms of the mid game, or that EDG are going to grab more mid game focused picks, and they just needed that cherry on top that if the mid game doesn't go according to plan, they now have the Senna in their back pocket, that everything would be fine.
So right now we see top lane focus in the bans coming in from EDG, really trying to pinch the pool of DLX coming in instead of having Ali's in the top lane. So this is something we kind of mentioned, is the flexibility in the subs, because CLX has also been able to play into the mid lane and the top lane Mole as well. So there could be, who knows exactly who's going to go into the top lane to face off against Jinoo. We're not really too sure just yet. We have to see what's going to happen, as right now it does seem like the Nautilus would probably be a great takeaway here, since Leona did not get banned. It was Tom Kench and Thresh by the side of Victory 5.
But I'd really prefer the Leona actually to be picked up here. It's just because you have the immediate window when you have the Taliyah. You know, when you have the Nautilus, there is a bit of a tiny channel on the queue. The autos are pretty slow. So if you have the Leona, just immediate flash Shield of Daybreak. And now that opportunity is actually open for V5. They have the first pick of supports here, and they could even end up maybe going for a Braum on the side of EDG, because whilst you won't have the opportunity to combo, with Jiejie on that Taliyah as much, that's going to be absolutely huge when it comes to shutting down the Misfortune.
V5 they've given away the secret. They don't play it. And if they do play Leona, they don't play it well. It's clear that EDG are not afraid of it. They left both of them open, knowing that they would just get the one that they wanted. I think that Victory 5 in this draft phase have shown that their two best players are their jungler and their mid laner. They know it. That's why they prioritize the LeBlanc and the Lee Sin in that second rotation after the Misfortune, and that their bot lane has a really thin, effective champion pool. I have no doubt that Max could lock in the Leona, but it probably doesn't look like Meiko's Leona. So EDG just hit him with the disrespect. They're like, we're going to make sure that Jinoo gets a strong lane, ban Ornn, ban Mordekaiser, and we can take whatever support that we want, because we know we're going to beat you even if you get the two most powerful picks theoretically in that bot lane. I think it's just massive disrespect.
And they have the ability to be able to do that. They know what the champion pool is for that of Max. You can look back to how he played in the LPL in 2019. And Nautilus, Tom Kench, those were the most played. What was not seen anywhere near there was Leona. So they're like, okay, we're taking the gamble. We know what we've seen in scrims. We know you can't play that. So now we have Senna and Braum into the bot lane. Plus, you look at Scout having that Lissandra. I'm betting that it's going to be ZLX into the mid lane with Mole going into the top lane, trying to go up against Jinoo's Renekton.
And reminder that we talked about how the Senna would be a late game insurance policy, and it was probably indicative that EDG would look for a mid-game power spike in terms of the rest of their picks. And that's exactly what we got. You have a Taliyah, you have a Renekton, and you have a Lissandra. These are all champions that kind of on that 1-2 item window really hit very hard. Now, yeah, Lissandra does a decent matchup into LeBlanc and can deny a lot of that kill pressure there, as well as try to follow like the roam potential. But in terms of windows, it's kind of like in the initial 1 to 2 groupings of dragons that EDG can really turn it on and try to take control of this game.
And it's really important that V5 do get that mid game sorted, because if they lose it in the mid game and this game starts to go later, you are going to have a really rough time versus this comp. When you have Misfortune, Lucian, LeBlanc, yeah, you have the Nautilus, but Lee Sin doesn't really want to be frontlining. So
no,
this seems like a comp that the second that the Renekton looks at you, you're kind of just dead going into the later stages of the game. So definitely a lot of pressure on the jungle to really start to get the ball rolling early.
What we saw last game was that potential from Victory 5, where they understood the Taliyah and Renekton wanted to pair up against one another, pair with each other, so that they could be able to dominate Kennen and completely shut him out of the game. So that's why they played heavily around the top side of the map. Well, this time around, it seems like they really have to, because if they do not put down Jinoo or Scout in that top half of the map, they're not going to be able to do anything into the bot lane. Hope and Meiko are going to be very safe.
Yeah, my eyes are all on Xiao and where he is going to determine this game, where he's going to assist his laners, how he's going to get this LeBlanc into a good matchup, maybe rotate him around on this map, because they have a lot of skirmish potential, but I'm really scared of how they execute these windows that they need to find in lane phase.
As we get into game 2 of our best of 3 for the unofficial English broadcast, Victory 5 trying to see if they can fight back against Edward Gaming, who are up 1-0 in the series so far.
Out on to the Rift. What's the level 1 going to look like? Any particular shenanigans coming across like last game? But right now, it just looks like standard point defenses. V5 maybe trying to get a little bit of vision down in that top half of the map, but Jiejie going to be okay and push them away.
Nothing too definitive coming in from either team. Pretty much just standard what we'd expect to see in the early stage of the game, just a line of scrimmage, even though there's the potential for a late invade from EDG right now.
Yeah, they're grouping up for it, and it makes sense because they have the Braum, so the standard delay invade, 5-man fan, get the information, and then you walk in around 1:30 with your Braum, throw the Q into the bush, and see what you catch.
There's the ward placed down up by Victory 5. Immediately cleared by EDG. They're trying to see if they can contest around that red buff, because if they can win out on the bottom half of the map, that means they could play so much more heavily on that top half, where they want to have Jiejie and Jinoo paired up with one another.
And this is a bit of an interesting phase. Not too much coming off, because EDG, they're reformed, now going for the slower style, and they're happy to give that one away. And again, I want to keep eyes on Jiejie. We saw last game, he was very able to play the game off the back of an unconventional start. And so I want to see, is he going to be able to do that again coming into this match, as Hope takes a hefty amount of damage in the bot lane.
Just a little bit, though. It seems like you can shrug it right off, just saying, you know what, it's okay. We're more of a defensive lane anyways. We're okay with getting shoved in. It's really about how we're going to be able to play into the top lane, as Meiko takes a big chunk of damage as well. Y4 already having that level lead.
I mean, the nice thing is that when you have such a power pick like a Nautilus and a Misfortune, that Y4 and Max should be kind of boosted through the lane phase. They shouldn't fall to the same disaster that happened in game number 1, and already in the initial trades you can see that. So hopefully Victory 5 have kind of figured out the picks that work for them to stabilize their bot lane. And again, it's then about our eyes on Xiaohan, who has traded sides of the map. Again, we have a split map. He took the red buff. He's potentially looking for a dive, because this is a big wave that's being built up here. It's about how much health he'll lose on this Krug camp and what Jinoo can do to stay healthy to dissuade any sort of dive.
He's trying to see if he can back off, and this is the trouble that Renekton does have into a Lucian lane. It's just that range into melee, trying to put the ward down, will be able to spot out that Xiaohan on the Krugs. Might need a little bit of help, but could be a little bit too late. Xiaohan probably could have gone for the dive, even with Jinoo knowing.
He just doesn't have information about where Jiejie is. There's no ward on him, so if you don't know where the Talia is, chances are he could have reset and would be running up top lane.
Right now, they're going to be able to get a little bit of damage onto Y4. Had to flash away as Jiejie nearby. They get the root on to Max. Push him back in. Looking for yet another first blood in the bot lane. Gifted over to Hope.
Another lovely early gank coming on through from Jiejie. They get the flash on out of Y4 as well, which means Jiejie is going to absolutely look to run him down and force him away from that tower, try and deny as much XP as you can here and get some nice solo placing over to Hope.
And it's kind of, it's about what Victory 5 are doing with imperfect information. So you see that Jinoo wards, he sniffs out that there's a potential that a dive is coming. That Mole has built up 3 waves, he's going to crash it into the tower, his jungler is there, and you see Jinoo ward, you're like, oh, they know, Jinoo doesn't seem scared. Maybe EDG's jungler is on the way top lane, so they don't go for the dive. But the mind games have been played. JJ's still on the bottom side of the map. You now have Y4 and Max, with Victory 5 making the assumption that jungler is probably top side to protect Jinoo. Nah, he's bot side and he's ganking you. And this is kind of, again, the trap that Victory 5 are falling into over and over, that they just don't have the experience necessary to consistently find the right guesses on this imperfect information, which is why they fall prey to ganks like that.
As Jiejie in the top lane, looking to see if they can at least punish Mole, who went out to Jinoo, but doesn't seem like Mole's taking the bait just yet. The more experienced player on Victory 5 trying to play this one a little bit passively, but there goes Jinoo in and easily knocked back. Unfortunately, Mole did not back off quick enough, and it's a kill over to Jinoo.
And Jiejie seems to be doing the exact same pathing and general map movements as he did last game. So maybe V5 will have an opportunity to react to that. Now they look for the play on mid, and JJ's nearby.
The claw, though, from Scout will be able to get him out of dodge. Max and Xiaohan were not in a position to be able to collapse immediately for CLX to actually get enough damage.
I think this is just huge mind games from EDG, because no one expects... Scout, please. All right. No one expects you go bot, blow the sums on the misfortune and get a kill. Dragon spawn. Like, okay, cool. This is the perfect time for the jungler to be bot. Oh, no, he's lane ganking me top.
Right now, you see a couple of spread out fights. JJ immediately gets the kill on a LeBlanc in mid lane as Meiko was able to flash away in the river to be able to survive. EDG, the beneficiaries of yet another advantage and being proactive on the map.
They're running Victory 5 over. It really does stand for victory in 5 minutes, because it's 5 minutes on the clock and it's 3-0 right now. AJ just forcing him out of his own jungle. The vision game is something that I want to point out from EDG. It was the vision that caught Max and Xiaohan when they attempted to go for that mid lane gank. Oh no.
Oh, Meiko, the positioning right there to be able to read that black cone. They even shoved back in Max, and he flashed the wrong way, giving JJ yet another kill. The Scout was able to show up, going to be able to get a lot of play. Jinoo in the top lane looking for the fight against Mole. He has dominance, gets a lot of damage onto this Lucian. Mole trying to see if he can escape the culling. Not going to be there to do enough damage as Mole, one more auto attack is all it's going to be needed for Jinoo. He's waiting for the cooldown. He wants to be able to get the dive. Wow, he goes for Call on the Meek to get the kill.
And perfect reaction there from Jinoo. He knows, yep, everyone's on the bot side of the map. I've just hit level 6 on the Renekton. I've got Tabby. He's got no boots at all. That is the optimal time to engage. And once you can start getting a lead as a Renekton versus these squishy ranged champions, you're given that opportunity to completely roll over the game, even though you're in what should be a counter matchup.
I mean, this is disgusting to watch. You have Victory 5 being outmaneuvered because their vision game isn't as strong. They're losing the mental game that Doc was talking about in terms of guessing where the jungler is, this whack-a-mole that they're playing. And then you also then just have people losing 1v1 in the lane phase when you went for the lane swap. Mole took the Lucian, lane swapped with CLX so he could go up against Jinoo, try to slow this guy down, and then just gets pummeled underneath his own tower. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and I'm actually now kind of curious how good EDG are, because this series will definitely inflate on, because this series will, especially in tandem with their performance at Demacia Cup. And EDG are clever, like they're doing some cool things here, but it is very clear that Victory 5 have identified themselves as a bottom of the barrel LPL team.
They're not doing so hot here, and pretty much the disrespect we saw in Champions Selection has continued here into this game, already having 2 kills onto Jinoo. They are dominating on the Rift. They are constantly the ones making these proactive plays, while Victory 5 are completely out of sorts. And honestly, just based off these few performances alone from the first 8.5 minutes, Victory 5 already seem like they're pretty much giving up.
I mean, you can see that there's fire. Like they're squirrely. They're placing defensive vision lines again, trying to clear out their jungle. They've got control wards very defensively placed back. It's just now a matter of refocusing, probably waiting until you have level 6 on hopefully Max, because he's still level 4. And then once you have that ultimate on Max, I think then Victory 5 will feel confident to try to go for another play. But meanwhile, EDG are then like, okay, your Nautilus is... Oh, as I say that, they're rotating in mid lane. Your Nautilus isn't a champion. We can take the dragon. We can take the buffs. We can gank any lane that we want. We have kill pressure everywhere. Where is Max going? He's going all the way to Rift Herald.
Yeah, I think going on an adventure.
It's the adventure. Where is Max going? It's pretty much trying to be a globetrotter right around here. All 5 members of Victory 5 trying to position around the Rift Herald, which is not really something you see all 5 members try to see if they can make sure to secure this early on, but that's what Victory 5 decided to go for.
I don't mind it. I mean, okay, so I know that we were just talking about, like, they should wait until Max is level 6. But looking at his items, he does have Moby boots. It's not like he has any sort of battle stats. So he probably can't even just sit into the lane, especially when you look at Braum, who has like the Ninja Tabi already. And since he has Mobies and he invested that much gold in, I guess they're just doubling down, and this is the situation that we have chosen. I must go around this map and try to force plays. Hopefully I don't fall too much farther behind. But they did manage to get Herald, so they are just trying to beat EDG on different rotations now.
At least it's proactive plays. At least they're trying something right now. They aren't fully giving up, but we'll see if they're going to be able to do much, because Jiejie into the top lane looks for an easy gank right here. Y4 and Max could easily be cut off by the Weaver's Wall. They might have to be able to flash over. The flash comes in from Y4. Max goes golden, trying to see if he can survive, but it's already level 6 for Meiko. Good dredge line in from Max, but the TP igniting, trying to see if they can take him down. Meiko will be able to get that kill for himself, and another kill for that Nautilus. Too squishy with just those Mobies.
It's perfect timing and perfect setup on that gank. They just wait for Meiko to hit level 6. The second he does, he can just walk up. You get JJ to get the cut off as well. You're blowing sums, you're getting kills, and Max is still level 5, because like Frost said, the part of the game where V5 actually can start to try and come back a little bit is when Max hits 6 and they can really look to start forcing with those bot lane ultimates. Well, yeah, right now, EDG's core goal, just don't let him hit 6.
And don't get me wrong, like, Mobies, of course, is standard on Nautilus because of how you can threaten with the ultimate by running at people. So I'm not, like, flaming that choice for Max. It's just the unfortunate reality that he's level 5 and running around with the Mobies and not much else. So he doesn't even get, like, the value out of it. Oh, God.
Xiao trying to tank a little bit for Max and nearly dies for it. That was very rough indeed.
Watching Max walk around the map, it's like if you've watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the episode where the dog gets lost and he's just waddling around the streets with the little happy music playing. That's just what I see when I see Max just like wandering around. It's like, yeah, XP, I'll find some later. I don't need it now. And just like, he just went from he's just walking up to top. Like,
it's the river Shem. He's not used to not playing. I think he's too young for that, actually.
Ocean man, running down the river. He's at home.
He's at home. He's just kind of like watching TV.
He gets to the top and hopes just like, right, it's me out. Oh, no.
At least he gets experience now from
He's not getting XP yet. He's growing water.
There we go. Now he's getting towards the minions. Now he's going to be able to get... And with Xiao Han in the top lane,
and I can
be able to
it
pop
3 ways.
The Rift Herald. Hey, it's something. Damn it! At least he's getting a little bit of gold. Wait, no, he's leaving. Never mind. Okay, right now they're at least going to be able to get themselves some plates, taking down pretty much 4 plates and giving a lot of that gold spread amongst the 3 of them in the top lane. Hope going to be able to make sure the turret doesn't quite fall, but at least Victory 5 are getting some gold, so they're not hemorrhaging too much to EDG.
I just feel like Y4 shouldn't be 3 levels over his own support. It's not great.
I mean,
surely Max has to hit 6 off of like one of these creeps.
We'll see. He's going to definitely try, but right now, EDG trying to make sure that they're not going to be able to get caught out. Xiao escapes from CLX in mid lane, not wanting to die too easily in that exchange, even though Lissandra does have a good time into that matchup, but Hope maybe
they're going to go kill Lucian.
They want to see if they can at least get the pick onto Hope and Meiko in the top lane. Xiao, Han, and Max get the flash. And that's going to be last embrace to be able to get the stun on to Hope. So EDG going to be able to walk away.
He did it! He's level 6.
So
again, it's the same as before when they forced that play mid like 20 seconds too early when they could have just waited for Archangels or for the Drake. Now they try and get the fight going 3 creeps too early where Max could have been 6.
I mean, in the end, though, you have Mole here who's killing JJ. Oh,
JJ flashes away. Flash comes in from Mole, and there's ZLX to be able to clean up house. Takes the kill as first turret goes over to Victory 5 in the top lane, looking for a little bit more damage onto Meiko and Hope, but they're going to be able to walk away from that.
What I was just going to say is that while everything was happening top lane and we were watching Max finally get to level 6, Mole actually absorbed a lot of pressure. Scout made a rotation bot lane, tried to force him off the tower with Jinoo, so like, yes, Mole has died by himself in his lane phase, but in kind of the last 3 minutes of play, he's been absorbing so much pressure that have allowed Victory 5 to not only finally get Max that access to ultimate, but also pick up the top lane tower. So credit to Mole here to kind of like inch Victory 5 back into this because they are starting to shore up some of this gold discrepancy.
Right, it went from a 2,000 gold lead to about like 1,500, so they're slowly starting to cruise some of that back where they fell behind at 8.5 minutes. They hadn't gotten a single kill, had no objectives to their name, so they are starting to be a little bit more proactive, not giving up on the map, trying to make sure that they can fight back against EDG, but how are they going to be able to transition that into some of these mid-game team fights? Are they going to be able to find these skirmishes, find these picks onto EDG?
Well, it's going to start with the mid priority, which is what they're acquiring now. So you have Y4 who shoves mid priority over. It then gives them access. You can see that they've placed down control wards. Victory 5 have swept everything up, even placing very forward control wards to try to catch someone around a corner. So they're trying to set up the dragon in kind of the textbook way. It's now, can they textbook fight EDG at this point in the game?
They don't seem very confident at it as they backed off a little bit. They had a dragon aggro. It's only taken a little bit of damage as you can see Scout. He's got it in the call. He wants to be able to look for that flank and deny CLX from being able to get that back line flank where normally LeBlanc is able to kill off, but they found Mole instead and blow him up. Lucian gone. They look for everyone else. They already have the depth charge onto Jinoo, doing no damage as CLX has to use the blast cone to escape from that. Could be the smite fight from Xiao Han with the bullet time doing a little bit of damage over the wall, but not going to smite as Jiejie will be able to find that for himself. The dragon, the kill, EDG win the fight.
And lovely engage from Scout. Everyone's looking for the claw, looking onto CLX and just, nope, flash on in, lockdown Mole, and then the throw off of Mole's corpse actually ends up threatening CLX out of the fight as well. He's forced to do a runner, and it's like, yeah, okay, we've got the kill, we're just gonna chill, put down the wall onto the Drake and take that one. Again, it's nice and controlled. A lovely change to EDG. It's exactly what they needed coming out of the Demacia Cup.
I love that word that you use, controlled. When you get to listen to comms for EDG, it's often Meiko saying, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. And it's in reference to exactly what you said there, the control, the patience, the fact that Scout sits there and he has this very valuable cooldown and he makes sure that it hits the right target at the perfect time. And it's what has kept EDG, even if they're not at the top of the LPL, at least in the relevant talking discussion of being a top team, because they're able to train their team fighting to be so flawless.
It's a good sign that it's Meiko that's the one saying it, because this is obviously 3 newer players on the team with Hope, Jinoo, and Jiejie, and these are the guys that they're going to be going, yeah, guys, let's go. They're young, excitable players, and you have the calm voices of obviously clear love in the back of their minds. Meiko in the game. Jinoo
taking a little bit too much damage. Call of the Meek, trying to see if he can heal up, but too much damage with that press of the attack. Mul finds retribution in the 1v1 fight.
Jinoo has flash, and he also had the dash escape.
I think he just
Really
read the
see him
damage
dying.
wrong. But credit to Mole to find the window where he could. That's now back-to-back Rifttails used for Victory 5. And again, that team fight didn't go as sideways as it could have gone. It wasn't like they got wiped. They were able to kind of cut their losses as soon as Mole died for the Dragon fight. They just gave it up and then immediately transitioned. So while Magical is kind of talking about Victory 5, how they're constantly reactive, and that means that they are effectively just kind of getting table scraps. At least it's like, yes, sir, some more peanuts, it's fine. Like, they are starting to make something with all of these peanuts they've collected, and they still haven't just exploded in terms of gold difference. At this point, last game, it was like a 7k gold difference. Now we're within 2k, so it's still feeling much better for Victory 5. They've been able to slow the game down and kind of find their footing to start throw some punches back at EDG.
Eventually, with enough peanuts, you can make some peanut butter, you know? That's what they're trying to go for right now.
Yeah, but it's not even that chunky peanut butter. It's like that really crappy, like smooth peanut butter that's just like loaded with sugar.
Hey, sugar's
peanut butter.
Anyways, let's look at the replay right here. Jinoo just underestimating the damage coming in from Mul, and it's a Lucian who has Blade of the Ruin King. You pretty much have to expect that he's going to be able to beat you, especially with press the attack.
I think he thought that Mo was just close enough to the tower that he would get the extra 2 hits on, maybe, during the stun, and that would be an opportunity to kill him. But really, the second that the Blade active is used, you just dash away, wait that one out, and it's cool. Now he has absolutely no way to kite you if you choose to go on him once your Flash and Dominance come back up.
And we are also starting to see kind of one of the win conditions that is possible for Victory 5 as this game goes later. Because we talked about that big mid-game window that EDG are in right now, and they need to make it count. Because Mole is starting to abuse, or at least finding where he can abuse Jinoo here. And that's kind of what they want. They have LeBlanc, they have a Lucian, and Victory 5 just want to split up the map. They don't want to try to fight that really controlled style of EDG's 5v5, especially not in the pocket where EDG have like their first completed items, their first 2 completed items, and are just really strong.
As it is the tier 2 that falls in the bot lane, EDG getting themselves a little gold to Victory 5, trying to see if they can position into the top lane. Scout is able to sneak his way into that brush, but with 3 members showing up of Victory 5, he has to wait till the rest of the team is going to be able to show up. Tower's going to fall well before they're going to be able to get
Check the bush!
Oh, there it is. Finally, they check it, and the claw to be able to get out.
I was going to sneak on out the end of that one. I was ready for him to look for the engage. You have the Senna ult coming. Just wait for Meiko to run in. Maybe you can find the 3v3 of the team, but they do end up losing the tower in the end because it looked like that was going to be really good for EDG. They get the tower for free. Everyone gets a fast enough reset, but they're a little bit too slow, and it does end up being that 1-4-1 trade. But now everyone back on the bot half of the map because another Infernal will be spawning in just 20 seconds.
And that's the key thing. It's in evaluating this 1-for-1 tower trade of like second tier top versus second tier bot, because it's an Infernal and it's also Infernal Soul. That's when EDG still won out, as now the team fight starts.
Trying to see if they can get the pick onto somebody of Victory 5, the flash away, and the knock upon the Mole, the only member that they're going to be able to get that CC onto. They don't want to actually look for the fight. Instead, Scout still holding onto the TP. Finally going to go for the TP into the mid lane. It's still 4 members still trying to fight from Victory 5. They don't have Y4 in position. They're just going for trade of blow for blow onto some of these members, trying to see if they can back out. CLX, it's a large chunk of damage onto Jinoo, but with everyone still here fighting around that Infernal, you can tell that Victory 5 don't want to give over an early Dragon Soul yet again to EDG. The flash in onto CLX and takes out LeBlanc, trades it around. This time it's not Mole who dies, it's the mid laner. Max going to be the next target as they try to see if they can turn around onto him, taking only a little bit of damage on, whereas Jinoo has to go golden to be able to survive. They're trying to see if they can all flank in, with Max barely going to be able to keep Y4 alive. Meiko wants to be able to slow him down, get the stun with the concussive blows. One more, there it is, with Hope following it up. They take down the bot lane. They lose Jiejie though around the Infernal. Mole cleans up in the back line and finds at least a silver lining for Victory 5.
Mole able to sneak on in and steal away that Drake. So yeah, like you said, a bit of a silver lining, turned that into just 2 kills deficit there as he trades that one back. But I mean, it seemed there during that fight that Y4 and Xiao had maybe a little bit too far forward trying to get something done, because up until this point in the game, as we've got a saying in England, we say they weren't troubling the scorers. You know, it's a cricket expression because they're chilling at 0-0-0. And you think that this time they're like, okay, this is the fight, we're going to get something done. And then they sort of just run it a little bit. And we can see here, what I thought is just walking right up. He has vision of Meiko coming in. But he's walking up to try and focus down that Renekton. Everyone's going to come on in and steal this kill. And now we can actually see what's going on here. So Renekton, as the illusion, was chilling, recalling in a bush. And then he just realizes, no one else is here. JJ's soloing it. He's Talia, so you can see all the worked ground there. Means it's not going very fast, and he's pretty low on health. And so that's a kill for Mole.
I would just say it's emphasis on the silver part of that silver lining is what happened there. I do like the fact that Victory 5 saw the one window because they had control of the wave, and so they tried to brute force it in there. And that was basically the only timing that they could have tried to go for that Infernal, since EDG had more towers pushed down bottom. So as soon as they got control of bot lane wave, it would be over. But Mole is like Peter Parker, Spider-Man, trying to hold the bridge together. He is trying so hard to drag this team back into this game, and he's doing a good job.
Well, CLX was looking for the flank onto Scout. Here's Weaver's Wall in from Jiejie to scare off Victory 5 from looking for the kill onto the mid laner of EDG. But Mole continuing to help this team, getting them gold, making sure they are not falling out like they did at the same time last game.
So now it's about how we structure and start building up around this Baron play. So EDG have actually done a really poor job this game, or at least kind of in the last 5 minutes of their wave control, as Mole is again punching on Jinoo.
Jinoo, he's got to be careful. Dominance comes in, trying to see if he can survive. Gets a coming in from Hope, but will JJ be able to turn it around to get the damage onto CLX? The flash away. CLX barely is going to be surviving with the root keeping Scout away from him, so they're going to be able to get out of there. And Victory 5 keeping EDG at bay.
And this is the win condition, that Victory 5 can continue to kind of splinter and pick at EDG, be that really obnoxious side lane presence, because they can do it with Dilution, and then they can throw around LeBlanc with her mobility. So I like the fact that, again, they're like, do not fight EDG, separate the map, divide and conquer, every man for themselves. And it is netting them kind of these small victories that are starting to accumulate and add up. But that also then goes back to the previous thing that I was just about to flame EDG for, was their wave management. The wave management hasn't been very strong this time around, and they're spending so much of their time kind of chasing Victory 5 around in these side lanes, particularly Mole, that when Victory 5 are putting these resources and punishing Jinoo, EDG aren't actually getting anything else on the map. They need to kind of go back to basics, reassess themselves, lay down some vision, and start setting up some actual plays on this map, rather than, again, playing whack-a-mole with this guy in a side lane.
I love that Mole has gone for the Quicksilver Sash as well, to be able to consistently get out of these ganks that could come in from EDG to try to see if they can punish him, because now he can overextend even more, continue to push up into EDG, where there is no answer that they seem to have for this guy.
Doc, how would you diagnose this? I'm assuming Doc stands for doctor.
What I would diagnose is magical. You got a cold, man.
Yes, that is true.
You need to cough, but
no.
Okay, so there is opportunity for V5. Obviously, they're only 2k behind, and they've been at that deficit for quite a while. You know, they've really been able to set up or really stabilize out this game. But now they need to be thinking about more of these objectives. Can they get another dragon? Can they start to set up for this Baron? Because, like you said, they're getting these sort of occasional picks, slight towers and advantages here and there. But really, we are 26 minutes into this game. You need to start turning this into something actual. And right now, the dragon is up, or it's about to be. People are moving around, setting up vision in that bot half of the map on the side of EDG. And V5 are just setting up top. They're trying to get some vision out, and they might actually look to maybe see if they can handshake away this Baron or try and find a pick onto Jinoo.
It's either a handshake or it's creating a big pressure point that EDG will have to respond to, and then immediately cutting down towards the dragon and trying to find if you have a small point where you get a numbers advantage. So it's either Victory 5 saying, if you don't defend this, then we can pressure this top inhib tower, or if you do defend this, then maybe we can find a point around the dragon pit where your 5th member is protecting the dragon and we have all 4 people here. But they have absolutely fumbled their back timers.
Yeah.
So they have the advantage, obviously, of having Mole on that Lucian in the side lane. So he's someone that can really solo pressure a tower or solo even pressure a Drake. If you have 5 members on that Baron of 5v4, you can just send Mole down to take it. He's a Lucian. His TP flank is not happening. But instead, they go for the controversial play of let's everyone recall.
Krog camp.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you. So the statement could be, well, of course it's fine that Jinoo matches the Lee Sin because he has the TP, but that's if everything happens at once. If Victory 5 felt confident enough that with LeBlanc and Lucian that they would be able to stall the Drake long enough that it didn't matter that it wasn't one of the teleport users that was playing the top lane away from the dragon, then you could kind of see it. But they like mismatched their lane assignments, they mismatched their back timers, they decided that they weren't going to contest the dragon at all. It just is a lot of... I've got a lot of question marks. My eyes are looking at the screen, and they just can't quite figure out what I'm looking at.
This is also just what happens when you have these rookie players that they know what they're supposed to be doing. They know what the strategy is. The gameplay is there, but unfortunately the practice just wasn't, and they fumbled the play and gave EDG the way back into this game work. They had done a great job at stalling the game out, making it harder, and EDG were fumbling themselves on what they wanted to be able to do, as right now they look into the bot lane, trying to see if they can get yet another pick on a CLX or Mole, but they can't.
And it's that third Drake is the one you really don't want to be fumbling, because it sets such a huge pressure on V5 now for the rest of the game. Now, at any point you've lost control of the dragon when it's within like a minute of spawning, you are terrified if you're V5, because you know you go into that area, there's a chance that you're just going to get 5v1, you're going to get picked off, you're going to lose the Drake, you're going to lose the game. So being in a situation where the next Drake lost isn't fatal is really advantageous for you. And now, I guess they're just doing...
Okay.
No.
I was about to say, I'm like, there's no way that EDG go for the Baron. They're just trying to get a little bit of pressure back. They're wrestling away control of the vision.
But if you're thinking that, V5 are thinking that. So we've been talking about the mental mind games coming on in this match earlier on. Perfect opportunity.
We are going to kind of come to a head here, because I think what's going to continuously happen is that Mole's always going to go back to this bottom lane, shove it up, and as long as he feels that Victory 5 with the other 4 members can stall off a potential Baron start, then he's going to feel confident enough that he can continue to play across from Jinoo on the bot side of the map and be like, team, stall Baron, I can kill this guy, and maybe we can force EDG off of, like, best case scenario, you force EDG off of an attempted Baron and you trade a bot in hit for it. Now, this means that EDG are going to be put into a decision where they will have to make choices. Are they going to continue to camp Jinoo's lane and try to kill this Lucian when Lucian tries to punch Renekton in the face? Or are they going to try to set up a pick through a lot of the pockets of vision that they've created and denied, look at all of EDG's wards, and then try to kill the other 4 Victory 5 members that are away from Lucian, and then transition into the Baron? But this is just like, it feels like Victory 5 are just trying to rip the map apart in as many places as possible, and EDG are very hard trying to like organize it back. Like, no, we want picks, we want best of our 5v5s, we need to set up our vision. Like, Victory 5, just stay still, just let us hit you.
Yeah, they're really anal about this. They're trying to make sure they got all their planners organized. They're trying to make sure it's all nice and concise and they know exactly how everything's going. If one thing's out of place, it's all going wrong. And honestly, I think that EDG are just waiting. They're waiting out the timer until that final dragon spawns up, because that's really what they want. They haven't made any pressure around anything else. They're just trying to keep Mole and Max away from that inhibitor turret in the bot lane.
That could also be really scary for EDG, however, because you're still taking the gamble then that you're going to absolutely win the 5v5. And look at the level discrepancy that's starting to form between Jinoo. Jinoo just ticked over to level 16. He was just level 15 a minute ago. And Mole is level 17.
Yeah.
Like, this is a big boy with the QSS. So, you know, we talked about how Senna is theoretically the late game insurance policy for EDG. But that damage, I don't think this is cut and dry, just absolutely won if it is a 5v5 for EDG.
Though, look at this. Mole and Max are way too far out, and Scouts caught him out. They get the kill onto the member with the most levels, and Max is easily going to be able to fall into the alcove he goes, and it's only his grave in there as EDG finally find the picks that they need. They've got the calls, and right now they're making the picks and the pings onto the objectives.
And again, V5 are just trying to overforce a little bit. If they get the pick, that's good. But Jinoo, he's tanky, he's got dominance, and the Guardian Angel is still up. They look for that pick whilst Xiaohan and Weifel are resetting. And now, congratulations, 2 of you have died right next to the Elder Soul. Infernal Soul, but still very important.
Same difference, really. I mean,
Yeah,
Infernal.
exactly.
They both do
Same
damage. There's fire involved.
Very
some
powerful
wings.
move for EDG, as they're going to have this huge power spike now as they get themselves the Infernal Soul. And at Victory 5 find themselves maybe a little bit later than last game, but they find themselves in a very similar predicament where they are behind. They don't have the Elder Soul, the Dragon Soul, and they are trying to see if they can fight around a Baron buff.
It's like you can see the light at the end of the tunnel for Victory 5. And it's like right here. They think that it's very bright. They think that they have like caught someone out, but the issue is that they then get collapsed on. They lose their most valuable member in Mole, who's like the strongest person on their team right now, and then lose the Infernal buff. And then losing that Infernal buff, it doesn't matter what kind of like composition that EDG have put together, kind of like where their power spike is, because that will be the difference. Yeah. They now are that ridiculously strong in a 5v5, and so it feels like Victory 5 saw it and then threw it away.
You hit the big center E, and then suddenly 5 people just get hit by the AoE explosion with the Infernal Soul. It's a rough one. Likewise with Jiejie, he finds one pick, you're gonna get that explosion spread out as well. Dangerous times to be on the side of V5, but maybe it was all tactical. Again, mind games. Maybe they give up the Infernal so they can steal the Elder, because Xiao hasn't tried a steal yet. So maybe they were just baiting them the whole time.
The coach is in the back room like, okay, guys, this game we're going to practice our Elder Dragon steals. We only get so many opportunities to do this.
You both are very, very generous with what you're thinking with Victory 5 here. As right now, the Baron started up by EDG. Even though Mole does have TP, they could look for the fight. It's down to 50%, and they're still not yet making the call. They get a lot of damage on the Scout on the other side of the claw. Not going to be able to scare him away, as Bullet Time does a lot of damage and takes the kill on Jiejie, but they're looking to see if they can take down anybody else. They're going to be able to get the flash out of Y4 as Jinoo into the back line.
But look at Mole.
To be able to stay alive, and Mole is still in the base. Max is going to be a sacrifice, but Mole is going to take that because he's starting to take the base of EDG.
That's and 1-for-1, and you get an inhib.
This is exactly what they wanted. They wanted to play the bot lane. They knew that Mole could win there. They knew that he could force them off the... Oh, God. EDG and making terrible Baron calls. Name a more iconic duo.
Oh, wait.
Oh, good this Lord. Has plagued them for so long.
Right now, EDG are still looking like they want to make that call onto the Baron, but I think they need to back out, cut their losses, because they don't have the inhibitor in the bot lane, and wait until Xiaoxiang is going to be able to respawn. They got to keep that Talia alive. That's the second time around an objective that Jiejie has died and really cost the team some leads that they could have had.
I think it's the indecision. So historically, since Clearlove really left the roster and the captain did fall to Meiko, Baron has never been the strongest call for EDG, whereas it used to be kind of one of the pillars of them as a team, that they were so consistent in their monster control. And when you have a situation, which I hope we get the replay, we can really keep track of what happened. It's just that indecision. Are we staying on the Baron? Are we turning off the Baron? Who is turning off the Baron? Who is actually holding the aggro for this? Are we zoning them away? Why do I get a picture-in-picture replay? Please, LPL. Full screen it. Because in that picture-in-picture, you can see that Jiejie is taking so much damage because he ended up behind the Baron. He eats the Misfortune Ultimate, and then he's dead. Like, Baron was the 7th member there for Victory 5.
Really was putting out a hefty amount of damage, but EDG have to be so aware of Mole because they can't match him in the 1v1. He's so strong. He's purely built to be that one-man army. And you see, he's gone back to the bot lane to look to see if he can start to threaten Nexus towers whilst the Baron is the objective. And you think, what's the solution? Because you don't have teleport on Scout. So, I don't know, maybe you send Jiejie down and then he has to ult back up towards the Baron, but you really want that ult to trap people in the Baron pit. So it seems like a unwinnable situation for EDG when they try to work around Mole. So maybe the solution is to just ignore him, hard force the 5v4, and see what you can take from there.
I mean, I agree. It just doesn't feel like they have the coordination, even though theoretically they should have the tools, which is create denied vision pockets, which they have control wards everywhere, and then have Scout flash, snap, grab someone.
But right now, they're just not having that advantage for EDG to be able to find a way to threaten back onto Victory 5. And Victory 5 are still looking for these picks onto the side lane. They're looking for the flanks out of Mole and CLX, where they get a lot of damage onto Jinoo, and they do pop Sterix and steal away a blue buff, allowing Mole to stay in the bot lane and consistently put pressure onto EDG.
Yeah, and that's actually not just a mole. They've taken CLX down there as well.
Wait a minute.
Looks like they're going to look for the pick onto Jinoo. He has no dominance and he has no stack. So if he overchases onto Mole, if anyone steps up too far, CLX is there to take them out. But actually, CLX giving it away, walks on into the base, is now in full vision. What's the response from EDG?
OTP in behind. They're looking to see if they can at least cut off the retreat out of Mole and CLX. Out there. Wait a minute. He's just sneakily there. They have no idea. They've cut him off. They got the damage on a CLX and they blow up Mole. CLX gonna barely be able to survive. Oh, because Scout was nice and sneaky there.
But V5Y, they go for the play on the bot Nexus. Max is recalling and Y4's doing Wolves.
Oh, we're playing on Baron. Just start it, guys.
Somebody just started already. Just get the game over with, because right now, EDG, they're starting all route towards the Baron buff. They don't have Jinoo, but they don't even need him. They start up the Baron, getting a little bit of damage. Y4 Max. Xiaohan on the other side. Xiaohan does Guardian's Angel. CLX getting a little bit of damage onto the right target.
TP?
Here's the TP in, looking to see if they can take down CLX, and there goes LeBlanc. There goes the assassin to be able to get onto the back line and kill off JJ. Y4 wants to be able to help out, get a little bit of damage over on the wall, waiting it out. Xiaohan not going to be able to get into the pit just yet, but he's still getting a lot of damage onto Jinoo. But Jinoo barely alive himself, trying to see if they can turn it around. He will fall, but the Baron is